Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back for another tutorial. Today we'll be making two button-controlled carousels. We'll have this large one here up at the top on our travel website we'll be creating. And then we also have this smaller one down below. So we're making a fade carousel and then a sliding carousel down below here. And let's get started. Feel free to follow along with your own designs, or if you want, I have the source file available for download. You'll get everything you see here, as well as this finished prototype page if you want to go ahead and check your work and see how all the components are connected. And let's get started. So for this design, we'll be creating a travel page. The first thing we're going to do is create our large carousel banner. I have a photograph here in a frame along with two text fields. So let's go ahead and grab that and drag this in our adventure website. See, I kind of like this placement. Bring it up a little bit. The next thing you're going to want to do is drag in our buttons. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm holding down Option on the keyboard to see the red numbers and how far away they are from the end of the frame. See, I think that looks good, 42. I'll make sure the button on the other side is the same. And then let's make sure these buttons are top aligned. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, and I like that placement there. So another thing you'll see with these large sliding carousels will be browser dots. And these browser dots tell you how many items are in the carousel and where exactly you are on the carousel, so how many clicks in. So let's go ahead and create those. So let's see, maybe I'll make it a bit smaller. A little bit smaller than that. All right, that's about good. And then we'll have 5 different items in our carousel. So we'll create 5 of these browser dots. And make them about 7 pixels apart. And go ahead, select all of these and go Command Option G, which turns them into one frame. Or you could go ahead and select them all, right click and click Frame Selection. And make sure they're equal width on the page. That's about good. And then we'll have our first one selected. So we'll make this a darker color here. I'm gonna bring these up a little bit. All right, I think that's about good. So now we're gonna go ahead and grab all these elements and drag them off of our main design here. Now let's group them all in a frame, so Command Option G. And I'm gonna name this Banner 1. And what we're gonna do now is turn this into an interactive variant. So go ahead and select our frame, go up to the top, click Create Component, and then we're gonna add about 5 variants here. So make sure it's selected, click Add Variant, go down below, and add a few more. Make sure you have 5 in total. Awesome. Now we're going to go ahead and go over to our photographs here. I'm going to grab Banner 2. I already have it within a frame. Command C to copy. I'm going to go over to Variant 2. And then I'm going to go down to where our photo of Canada is. I'm going to right click it and click Paste to Replace. And then it has it up in the top there. I'm just gonna use the arrow keys to bring it down. And let's go ahead and update this city. So this one's Italy. Do Portofino, Italy. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with the rest of our banners here. Banner 3, Command C. Variant 3, candidate image, paste to replace. And then another thing you could do if you didn't want to use the photographs I had available, you could go ahead to where the image is within our layers panel. Select it, go over to the right where it says image and click choose image. And this will bring up your own desktop files and you could select what photograph you'd want. All right, now that we have our banners created, it's time to jump into prototype mode. And now let's make these button interactions. So go ahead and select that plus and drag it over to our second variant here. So then it'll say on click. We'll make sure it says smart animate, ease in, and then let's make this about 400 milliseconds. So on click, it'll slide over to the left and our next banner will go ahead and slide in. We're gonna do the same thing for our next button. Grab it, bring it to the third variant. Property 1, variant 3, smart animate, ease in 400 milliseconds, awesome. Same with our next one, property 1, variant 4, smart animate. And we'll repeat with each button, so go ahead and do that. Property 1, variant 5, smart animate, awesome. And then when we get to this final banner, you have the option here, you could either delete this button if you think your banner should end here, or we could go ahead and have it reset and bring us back to that first banner. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Grab it and drag it back up to our first banner at the top. Now I'm gonna do the same thing with all the buttons on the left, only I'll have them go to the banners before them. So when clicked, property 1, variant 4, smart animate, and go ahead and repeat the process. When you're selecting these though, make sure you don't have it selected as the ellipse, make sure you have it the whole button frame. So we have left button here, variant 2, left button here, first variant, and then I'll have our first one cycle all the way to our last one at the bottom. All right, we have one more thing to do here. We're gonna jump into design mode and we're gonna change the browser dot here. We'll show our second banner dot as selected since we're showing our second banner here. Go ahead and repeat the process for the rest of our banners. Now you have your interactive variant created. Actually, I think I'm gonna rename this. Let's just call this carousel 1 or carousel large. Now we're gonna jump over to our asset panel and go ahead and grab carousel large and drop it in on our travel page. Now let's go ahead and test this out. So I'm gonna go over to design, prototype, flow starting point, and let's check it out. And it looks like we have our large carousel created. Now let's go ahead and create our smaller carousel here. So I'm just going to move this over to the right for now, just so I have more space to work with. Then I'm going to bring these elements up. Let's go ahead and drop this onto the page. I have a text field that says popular trips, and then I have a few buttons created over to the right. We're also going to grab our smaller banners here. I have them already grouped in a frame and I labeled it as long banners. So go ahead and drag and drop that onto our travel site. Feel free to position this however you like. I think I'm going to have our mini banners here line up with travel trips right there. And then I think this looks about pretty good. So now I'm going to go ahead and grab these two elements and click Command-Option-G to throw them into a frame. I like having this one banner hang off here, but if you wanted to cut it off earlier, you could go ahead and grab the banner all the way to the left and select Clip Content. And then you'd want to move these buttons up here over to the left a bit if you didn't want it to hang off the page. But I kind of like the look, so I'm just going to make sure it goes over to the end right here. And you guessed it, we're going to create another interactive variant. So let's go ahead and grab this and drag this over to the right here. We're going to click Create Component up at the top, add variant, and then we're going to go ahead and have about 5 of these, so make sure you have that. The next thing you're going to do is we're going to click in it, make sure you have the long banner selected, and we're going to bring these banners over one at a time. Oops, let's see, I'm going to do that in the second banner. So make sure you have long banner selected, and then I'm just going to use the arrow keys on my keyboard, and I'm going to move each banner over one to the left. So I'm going to try to get this one aligned to popular trips up above. You could also go ahead and drag these with your mouse. If you hold Shift on the keyboard and drag, it'll keep them in the same spot. And go ahead and repeat with each one here. Now with our last one, I'm going to have our last mini banner line up with our buttons here. All right, let's connect them now. So go ahead, jump into prototype mode. We're going to go over to this first button here at the top right. Go ahead and select it. And we're going to grab it and drag it to our second variant here. So make sure it says property 1 to variant 2. We'll have it set as smart animate, ease in, and then let's make it about 500 milliseconds here. And go ahead and repeat this process for the rest of the buttons. Now once you get to the bottom here, we're going to do the same thing with our left button, only all the variant banners above it. So on click, smart animate, ease in, 500, and go ahead and repeat that process. Make sure you only have the one of the buttons selected, not the button group. Now I'm going to go ahead and rename this as small carousel. Go over to our travel website design, go over to the asset panel to the left, and then drag in small carousel here. See, I think I like that placement. And let's see how our final design looks. Oh, just one more thing I just caught. See how the shadow here below is being cut off? We could go ahead and fix that by going over to our design and grabbing our component here and just pulling the bounding box down just a little bit. And it looks like it fixed it. And there you have it. You've just learned how to make 2 different kinds of button carousels in Figma. I hope you liked this video, and I'd appreciate it if you went ahead and hit that YouTube like button, maybe subscribe even if you feel like learning more in the future, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.